Yeah. FBA dreams, FBM hustle, private label stacking muscle, intelliTALKS on the track.
Hello and welcome to another episode of intelliTALKS. My guest for today is a special friend, 𝗵𝗍. She's from Amazing at Home and she is amazing in the space, so I'm looking forward to her insights and her great experience in different matters of the Amazon space. Amy, welcome.
Thank you, Marcel. It's so good to see you and so good to be here with you conversing about all the fun things we get to do in ecom today.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a big and long conversation, never ending, which is also fun at the end of the day, because honestly, why do we do that, Amy? Why do we get into this type of conversations, and why do we got into e-commerce in the first place?
Yeah, well, you're asking me why I got into e-commerce in the first place?
Yeah, that would be the big question for the day.
Well, that is actually a good question, right? Like, how do we all do this? I started selling on Amazon in 2007. I was in the US military and I was also going to college at the same time. That's how I paid for college, was being in the US military. And I was buying textbooks because what the military doesn't pay for is your textbooks.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was looking for textbooks for the University of Maryland. They would change the textbooks every semester. And I went on Amazon, which back then in 2007 was mostly books and media.
Yeah.
And I saw this little button next to the textbook that I was going to buy that said, "Sell yours here." And I was like, oh, sell mine here. Okay, I can get this textbook and then I can just flip it right at the end of the semester and buy another one cheap, right? And so that's what I started doing. I started flipping my textbooks. But then I realized, I went to Amazon to buy a lot of different things. And so I started selling whatever I could find. I had old CDs that I sold on Amazon. I used to make my own packaging and ship them out. Back then it was all merchant fulfilled. I started selling on eBay. I hated that. There were so many scammers on eBay. So I remember I sold a laptop on there and the person, when they got it, they said, "Oh, this laptop's broken. It doesn't work." And they used eBay to get the refund. And I was like, wait a second, how does this work? So I stopped selling on eBay, kept selling on Amazon, started flipping different things. I remember going to a Goodwill store, which is like a thrift store in my local area. I was living in South Carolina at the time, and I found these old cameras. And there was like a box of these old cameras. And I just decided, I was like, back then you actually had a seller app too. You could go on the Seller Center app and Seller Central app. And I looked up these cameras and they were selling for like $80 on Amazon. And they were only $4 in the bin at the Goodwill. And that's when I realized I could go from stuff I had in my house to other stuff, to flipping other products on Amazon. And I just kept selling over the years. And then I got stationed in Hawaii with the military. And well, the address and shipping your own stuff merchant fulfilled from Hawaii was not the same as shipping it from South Carolina to another state. So It got very expensive, and I decided to pause Amazon for a little while, and I started my own Etsy shop. I was painting wine glasses and beer steins. I was doing that for military friends, and I started selling.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I started doing that on Etsy. It was a lot of fun. And me and my girlfriend, we would do them together. It was like our fun time. We would go to local markets and sell them. And then we also had our Etsy shop. So I got some experience on Etsy. And then in 2014, I moved back to the continental United States. The military moved me back. And I was here in Texas, where I live now. And I came up with an idea for a product. And, there at that time, this was 2017 when I came up with my idea for my product. And at that time, nobody was teaching. People were teaching, like Amazon was booming. Like FBA came out and like all these things were happening since I kind of like put a little pause on my Amazon sales. Yeah. And nobody was teaching how do you take a product from scratch. Like everybody was teaching in these courses, like go on Alibaba, use the software, find the product, then, you know, and I was like, how do I do this? Like, how do I take a product that I literally have a prototype made of wood and metal in my garage and I want to put it on the market? I didn't know how to do that. I have an MBA. I have a couple of undergraduate business degrees, but I did not know. I knew I could sell it on Amazon, but I didn't know how to get my rickety little prototype to a product on Amazon. So that is what started the journey of where I'm at today in e-commerce. Is I said, well, first, Marcel, I tried out for Shark Tank. I called season 18. I didn't get picked up, thank goodness, because I just exited last year and I owned 100% of my company. Thank you very much.
Congrats on that. Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, so I tried out for Shark Tank. I called all these design firms and they wanted $30,000 to turn my drawing into another drawing. And I said, this cannot be the way. Companies bring new products to market all the time. This can't be it. And I decided I was going to figure it out. And so, yeah, I got mad and I started cold calling manufacturers and I started figuring it out. And I was on a mission and I decided I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to share it with as many people that need it. And that's what I started doing. And that's how Amazing at Home was born. And that's how I started speaking at events. That's how it was just, I did figure it out. I developed a 60-hour graduate level course called Concept to Launch, teaching these concepts and helping people. And now today, since 2017, I've helped thousands of brands bring new awesome products to market. And I not only grew my own brand over 7 figures and exited it, but yeah, now I'm here. So that's my story.
That's amazing. That's amazing. A big part of it I had no idea about. So thank you for sharing, Amy. That's also putting the pieces together in the puzzle there. Super.
Yeah.
For everyone that doesn't know, Amy is also the CEO of Amazing at Home. So that's a consulting agency that's helping Amazon sellers and e-commerce in general. Amy, may I say e-commerce in general as well, or just Amazon?
Yeah, we are Amazon and TikTok partners. So we help on both channels, but we also have a course on how to get into brick and mortar retail. So we really help on every channel, whether it's your own website or Amazon or TikTok. We really help with everything from concept to launch and growth of that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Amy, from your experience, let's dive into it. From your experience, where do people actually, let's say, go wrong before they even talk to a factory? Since we're talking about products and sourcing and everything, that's something that, you know, maybe from your experience, you can share at least the mistakes so we try to avoid them.
That is such a good question. And I can tell you, so many people, I don't run ads for my services as a consultant because I'm also developing brands. I'm also doing other things besides being a consultant. Yeah. And so people come to me for help because they hear about me from someone else. And often they've already talked to a manufacturer or they've already made an order. And I would say the number one biggest mistake that they make is that they don't realize that they potentially, if they're differentiating a product, you don't have to invent something. People always come to me, oh, do I have to invent something, Amy? No, you don't have to. Pretty much everything's already been invented anyway. You're just going to make a change to it. But if you are making a change to a product, which is what most of us learn to do, we're like, oh, we need to differentiate in some way so that we're not just competing with a factory in China, right? Right. So when you differentiate, you probably can protect your differentiation in some way, whether that's a design patent, which, by the way, you can use a patent agent to get a patent for around $1,000. A lot of people don't know that. You don't have to spend $100,000 on a patent, and you can have a very well-written patent. There's things like creative trademarks that you can do. There's all sorts of things you can do. But the point is you need to think about protection before you even go think about manufacturing. Why? Because let's say that I am going to add, I always use this example. Let's say I'm going to add lights to a water bottle. Okay, I'm going to add lights to a water bottle. I want it to be for people who are walking to their cars at night from the gym or whatever, so they don't have to get out their phone. Their hands are already full. They have that water bottle in their hand. Not only do they have a weapon, but now they can push a button, they can have a light, and they can see where they're going, right? Cool.
Or where they're hitting, you know.
Exactly. Yes, I like the way you think. So let's say that that's my differentiation. Nobody has taken me up on that one yet. Nobody's put lights on their water bottle yet. But anyway, let's say that that's my differentiation. And I decide, oh, that's cool. That's a cool idea. I'm going to go talk to a factory. You just made so many mistakes. Number one, you should have had a conversation with a patent agent or a patent attorney or anyone who does any type of protection. And you should have asked them about, how should I design it? What are the claims that are currently being made? How can I protect this? Because maybe if you put the lights here, somebody else has already done that and it's not really protectable, and you might even be infringing, and then you get sued for your profits. But maybe if you just change the lights to up here, now not only do you have something that's novel or not novel, it's unique and cool, but you can protect it with not only a design patent, but a utility patent. Ooh, exciting, right? But then once you have that, you understand how you need to differentiate and how you can to make an even more powerful product. And by the way, when you go to exit your business, if you have some protectability around your brand, if you built that moat, you're going to get far more offers, because that really, you can protect the price of your product. You can protect yourself from competitors just coming in and copying you directly, or at least you can deter them. So it's so powerful. So we want to have the protection conversation first while we're developing, while we're thinking through our differentiation. Then when we go to talk to manufacturers, the second biggest problem I see people have is that they're not vetting their suppliers. They have no idea who that dude is, that they're supposed dude, whatever, that they're talking to on Alibaba. And they're not doing factory audits. They're not having contracts drawn up with their suppliers, or if they are doing contracts, it's a template that they're using, which, oh, by the way, I've had to sue one of my suppliers in China. And thank goodness that I have a Chinese attorney that has done all my contracts, because when that supplier decided they want to talk to me anymore because they knew they owed me money and they were outside of our contract, they got a nice little letter from the government of China.
Well,
and then suddenly I got a message. They didn't ghost me anymore. They were like, I got a letter from the government of China. I was like, yes, you did. Let's have a talk. You're under a proper contract, right? So right there at the beginning of my sourcing, I always vet the factory. I find out if they can be held financially liable to anything, if they actually exist, if the person that I'm talking to actually works there. Because, oh, by the way, most of my clients, when they do factory audits, they find out that that person they're talking to is actually a third party. They don't even work for the factory. So cool, right? We do all that. And then we have contracts. Before we go send our designs, we have the proper contracts in place so that when other people walk through that factory, they're not shown your product and your differentiation. And when that factory goes to a trade show, they don't have your products on their shelf of their trade show, right? They're protecting your product because they're under a proper contract. So that is, it's worth it, right? It's setting up your business for success. So these are the pillars of success. Not only are you differentiating in a way that matters to the customer, but you're protecting your differentiation. You're putting your suppliers under contract, and you making sure that you know who you're actually talking to. You're building a proper business and having the right kind of relationships from the very beginning.
That's pretty much I appreciate the way you explained it, Amy. It's pretty much like the foundation of a house. You want to make sure that it's a very strong one. That's whatever, if you want to build a house on top of that.
Yep.
Otherwise, later on, you might find it, not so strong, or maybe the first wind will blow it down, like the Three Little Pigs.
Completely.
All right. So yeah, that's very, very insightful. Thank you for sharing that, Amy. And I am sure you've had a lot of other experiences in this area. But let's say, how would you look at it from the, let's say, negotiation perspective to make sure that, whenever you're talking to a supplier, to get like the best price quality and do not, get robbed maybe of the quality, so to speak, or getting a faulty product or whatever, because that will damage the reputation very, very much, I believe. So
yeah. So how do you make sure not only are you getting good quality, but you are getting good prices? That comes back to vetting your supplier. So, and having the proper contracts in place. So when you are vetting your supplier, part of that vetting process is you doing your homework. If you don't understand how your product is made, if I'm going to put lights on this water bottle, I should probably know how water bottles are made. I should probably know how stainless steel vacuum sealed water bottles are made. I should probably know how the plastic top might be made. I should probably know what those machines look like. Because if I know nothing about my manufacturing process, and it's very easy, go on YouTube, how it's made. Literally Google it, look it up. You've got AI now. Like you can ask, you can get a picture and be like, how do you think this is made? What material? AI will tell you, right? But you need to do your homework. Because I can't tell you how many times I have worked with a client and we have gotten on a video call with their supplier, and their supplier doesn't even make their product. Their supplier is just sticking labels on, or it's just and the thing is, because they never got on a video call with their supplier, they never developed a relationship, and they don't even know what to look for. Let's say your product is cut and sew. If you have a sewn product, you're selling this dress. Okay, well, you should know how this dress is made, how dresses like it are made. And when you do a video call with your supplier, if you can't go in person is always the best. That's why I do China trips. But if you can't go in person, you need to have them show you the factory. And what are you looking for? You're looking for some sewing machines. You're looking for some production lines. You want to see what else they make. And when you do that, you are going to have so many ideas about how to properly develop your product, how to do your spec sheets. That's the second way that you ensure quality. Because let me tell you, factories have high turnover, especially right now in China. They're having a lot of turnover. The age of industrialism, I guess you could say, and AI and everything is happening in China. So factory workers, when they have Chinese New Year, and I'm very good friends with so many factory owners, and this is what I suggest all of my clients, like, you need to talk to the boss. You're the boss of your company. Talk to the factory boss. Talk to the person who owns that factory. Develop a relationship. They are essentially your business partner, because if they fail, you fail. So you need to make sure that you know them. They should be your buddy. When I go visit my factories in China, I have a great relationship with them. I know their kids, I even gave the English names to one of my factory's daughters. Both of her daughters, I gave them their English names. So we just have a great relationship, and they're friends. They're my friends, because not only are it just like if you had a business partner, they say it's like a marriage, right? Like you really want to know this person. You want to understand. So my factory owners, when I talk to them, I can ask them questions like, how's it going? You just finished Chinese New Year. How's it going? Like, what's going on with your staff? Like, did they all come back? Like, what happened? I can ask them questions like, what do you want for the future of your factory? Like, is your son going to take over? And they're like, no. Most of the time they say no, like they don't want anything to do with it. It's like, okay, where are we going with this, right? It's a friendship. In China, it's known as 𝗆𝗆, right? So it's really important that you not only understand how your product is made, but that you're vetting your factories and you're developing relationships, and that you are taking the responsibility to understand how my product is made and make proper spec documents. Because those spec documents, and you can go to an inspection company and get their AQL inspection reports for products like yours, and you can learn how products like yours are inspected and include that in your spec documents. That way you can make sure that your products are made with the proper quality. If you're just putting all of that on your supplier and you expect all of that to come through the communication guidelines between your chats on Alibaba.com, there might be some problems. There might be some missing links there. So you need to make sure that you understand how it's made, you understand your specs, you're providing the specs, you're communicating with your supplier, get on video calls, and then don't forget about those contracts before you enter into, there's 2 types of contracts that I like to do with all of my factories, especially in China. Of course, every country you source from, I have clients that source from India. That's different. It's different in China than it is in India. I have clients that source from Mexico. That's very different. So there's all sorts of different ways to do business in different countries. So it's important you understand that, and you do business in the way that that country accepts it. So in China, for example, I like to do 2 contracts if the product is unique. If the product is unique and I need them to not compete with me or show my product to other people, then I will do what's called an NNN agreement. And then the second document that I will do is called a general conditions agreement. Now, this is a contract. And now let's say you don't have a unique product. You've just done differentiation. You're just getting to market, right? It's not protectable, you know. There's still some protection language in there. It's just not as strong. It doesn't need to be a separate document, right? Maybe you're working with a trading company. You don't care. You're just like, look, I'm doing these water bottles just like this. I'm just doing them in a new color that nobody has yet. So I don't care. I don't need the NNN agreement. I just need, but you do need a general conditions agreement, because what that is going to do is that protects you for every order you make from years 3 to 5 years. So what people are doing now, what a lot of people do, is they just put it in the purchase order. And every single time you make a purchase order, you put in new kind of legal jargon of, you will deliver the sample on time. If blah, blah, blah happens, you will do that. You're trying to put that in every purchase order. Forget it. If you have this contract from the very beginning and your attorney vets the factory, they've signed it properly, that general conditions agreement is what actually protected me when I sued my supplier. Because I actually forgot. I did not do, well, my ops person at the time did not do an inspection. You skip the inspection, which you should never do. If you want quality, you shouldn't skip inspections. It doesn't matter if that same supplier has delivered quality for you time and time again. Remember, employee turnover. So every time it's probably a new staff making your product. So you do need to do an inspection. But when you have that general conditions agreement, it says like every order, the product that is delivered needs to be in line with the sample. So because she had sent pictures of the samples of, you know, what we were supposed to receive, and we received 1,000, it was like 1,500 units, completely unsellable, just looked awful. Like the printing was all over the place. These were like floor mats, and the edges were cut wrong. Like it just looked terrible, completely unsellable. But because I had pictures of those samples, even though we forgot the inspection, we had pictures of the samples, and we had that agreement that every order had to be in line, and it explains the timelines that it has to be delivered in. Otherwise, there's financial penalties. So now you have your supplier making sure that they're producing on time for you according to contract. You have them, this supplier had to remake all of my products for me. And they're under a proper contract from their government. It's not like you just made something up and they kind of willy-nilly signed it. Like that doesn't work. It's very hard to enforce, right? So anyway, it just goes back to that. If you want quality, you take responsibility, and you have responsibility on you have the right contracts with your supplier, and then you work together on a partnership, and everything's in writing, and you both take equal responsibility.
Yeah. Also owning the profit. So also one thing I want to add to what you said, Amy, look at the returns that you get on Amazon. So some products might be faulty, or whenever it happens, may be damaged by the clients, by the customers. If you have a proper contract, you can also deduct them from the manufacturer. So it depends how the contract is written. There are different ways to tap into that profit, and I've seen a lot of people in my experience that are not caring about that, which is, I don't know, if you ask me, it's not a good idea. Anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
I look at it like it could literally make or break your business. How many stories have we seen of sellers that have had one bad order, or and you know, in this business, you're operating on very thin margins because you don't get paid everything at once. You scale in the beginning and you're trying to put whatever profits you get back into scaling your business. And so one wrong order that you can't fix, or that supplier goes to you and you have no, like, would you rather spend the $500 up front to get the proper contracts and everything in place and the inspections? You know, I would rather spend that up front and be protected for 3 to 5 years than one wrong order. Literally, I got to do a removal order from Amazon now. I got all this inventory I can't sell. I'm screwed, and I have no relationship with the supplier, and they're not going to give me any money back, and I have no contracts with them. Now my business is dead. So the difference is your business surviving and thriving, and you working together as partners with that supplier, or your business just one wrong move from either of you. Bye.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So why not be protected? Yeah. I appreciate that, Amy. That's very good and insightful. So yeah, anyone that's not doing it, reach out to Amy. Maybe we can work. You can work together and find out the best way to do that.
Get it all fixed up.
Yeah, exactly.
I always have, you know, PPC agencies, stuff like that. They send me their folks because they're like, Amy, they want me to produce sales for them, but they don't have the margin and their listings are not where they need to be. And so I can't produce results because they don't have that foundation. So I always have agencies sending me people, and Amy, just fix them. You know, accountants will send me their people. Like, you help them fix their bottom line, help them fix their supply chain, so that you can scale your business. Those are the things that, if you make mistakes, it's okay. We all do. Look at me skipping that inspection, man. Like, that was smart. You know, I had 1,500 products that finally got there that I couldn't sell. You know, I've made one wrong move on a shipping invoice and had a $20,000 mistake. Like, all of us make mistakes. None of us, I'm sure, Marcel, you've made mistakes too. Like, we have all made mistakes. That's okay. But the point is, like, that's the definition of insanity, is when we keep making the mistakes and we don't fix them. So let's go back and let's get your foundation fixed up so that we're operating then from that solid foundation and we can actually grow and scale our business. Definitely.
So yeah, reach out to Amy for that. Amy can definitely help. Amy, you mentioned AI. That's like the hottest topic in the industry right now. I know you're deep into it. So yeah, tell us a little bit about AI and how you can use it for optimization and for whatever you use it on a daily basis. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, AI can be used in every corner of your business, as we all know. Yeah. And it's really rapidly evolving to the point now where we may not even we are not far from removing the human from the loop. And that, I mean, even a year ago, when we talked about this, we were like, oh, but there will still need to be a human. Like, you guys are crazy. We got to have a human, right? We are very, very close to not needing a human. In fact, I have friends that are already building full agencies with no humans.
Well, the one that's building the agency is a human, so they're instructing the AI how to build it, but yeah.
Right, exactly. But then those agencies are now operating on their own. And with vibe coding now, we can literally, you know, build entire websites or apps. And what is vibe coding? You're just talking. It's taking that jumble of a mess that you used to have to put into business plans and hire all these people, and you can just talk, literally, like, get out your microphone and talk to AI and say, I imagine that there's an app that does this. Do you think you can build it for me? And less than an hour later, boom, you have an app and you get to try it out and it works and you can publish it, and whoa, like, incredible, you know. So I think AI is just so awesome and there's so many great things we can do. But what I'm seeing is that across the board, people are overwhelmed. They aren't really sure. They feel I'm not techie, or I tried this thing with AI that somebody else did, and I didn't get the same result. I don't trust it. All of those concerns. And let me just tell you that I hear you. I feel you. And then there's the fear of what's going to happen to my business when my competitors figure out how to run their business faster, quicker, without anybody, without needing all their employees or letting everybody go, whatever it is. Like there's these immense fears that happen because we're seeing across the board, we're seeing big companies let Amazon's letting tons of people go in favor of automation. We're now seeing driverless cars take people. I just have a Waymo vehicle now in San Antonio. I'm now seeing Waymo, which is the driverless cabs, taxi cabs. Used to just be in Austin, but now here in San Antonio, Texas, there are Waymo vehicles. Wow. So we are just moving into a world where it seems very scary. So I want to remind you guys that you owning the business, as Marcel said, oh, wait, but the person creating the agency with no humans is still a person creating it, right? You, as business owners, people are still going to need to buy things. They're still going to need products. They're still going to need innovation. It doesn't matter. You, now more than ever, we need to look at the rich dad, poor dad story and go, do I want to be the bank or do I want to be the banker? You want to be the bank, honey. So use AI to create your businesses and, build those things, learn it, have fun with it, take some time. My best advice for learning AI is create something for you that you've always wanted to create. Don't make it have to depend on your business surviving or dying. Right now I just built an app for the Miracle Morning. 𝗵𝗨𝗶𝗃, he spoke at my Christmas party. He's a wonderful, inspirational guy. He wrote a book called The Miracle Morning. And it's all about, as entrepreneurs or as people, getting up and how you start your day is how your whole day will go. And so I wanted to get back into the Miracle Morning recently. That was a catalyst for me years ago, going on my personal growth journey. And I wanted to get back into it, just kind of get back into my morning routine again. And so, but unfortunately, Hal, I love you. You're amazing, but your app sucks. It's really terrible. Okay, man, just reach out. I rebuilt your app with vibe coding in like 5 minutes and it's incredible. So
there we go.
So I decided I was going to vibe code an app just for my Miracle Morning. Very simple, like, okay, this is how I like to do it. So I just gave it the context. So I'm going to walk through the process real quick, okay? I go into ChatGPT or any AI that you like to talk to, whichever one you like to talk to. You've trained to talk to you. Okay, cool. I go into ChatGPT and I say, I do the Miracle Morning. Are you familiar with the Miracle Morning? And it gives me this whole synopsis. Oh yeah, it's 𝗵𝗨𝗶𝗃's Miracle Morning. Here's the documentary. Here's the website. Here's all the savers. Here's all the things. And I'm like, okay, it's familiar. Cool. So that's step one. Is it familiar? Step two. Okay, cool. Well, I don't really like the app right now. It kind of looks like this. I give it a screenshot of the app. I'm like, I don't like it. I imagine an app that would work like this. It would have the savers be trackable. It would have links to YouTube for 5-minute meditations and workouts. It would do this and this and this. Can you help me with this idea and just kind of like describe what an app like this would look like? And then ChatGPT comes with this whole big thing. It's like, yes, this sounds great. Of course, ChatGPT always tells you what you want to hear. It's great. It's always looking out for you. This is why we all get different answers from AI. So ChatGPT comes back and is like, I imagine this app. It's going to have this. It's going to have this. It's going to have this. And so I use a platform for vibe coding called 𝗶𝗶𝘁. Some people use Replit. Some people use 𝗨𝗹𝗶. Some people use ChatGPT's new thing, which their Super Bowl commercial was bad. ChatGPT, reach out. OpenAI, reach out. I can help you with commercials, okay? Anyway, anyway, they did a horrible job communicating that you can vibe code on the app during their Super Bowl commercial that they spent probably $10 million on for 30 seconds. But, you know, hey, what are you going to do? They've got billions of dollars. They're okay.
Oh, yeah.
So ChatGPT comes back and it tells me this whole cool thing. And it doesn't matter what app you're using, but I use 𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗀. And I said, well, okay, well, I actually want to use 𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗀 to build this app. Can you, and I gave it a screenshot of 𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗀. And I was like, can you help me write a prompt for 𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗀 to build this app? And ChatGPT gave me the whole prompt. And then I just pasted that into 𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗀. And now some people would say, but you could just go to 𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗀 or Replit and you could just talk to it like that. Well, guess what, guys? That costs you tokens. Every time you ask a new question, it's going to charge you tokens. So the more complete your prompt, literally the whole app was built from one prompt. That's cheap. I am scrappy as a business owner, okay? Like I'm super scrappy. So that I'm teaching
everyone should be.
Right? Yes.
Keep money in your pocket. Don't give it to someone else.
Exactly. So I asked ChatGPT for the prompt. It gave it, and 𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗀 just went to work. And then I started testing it on 𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗀, and I was like, this is pretty cool, but I don't like this or this. So instead of going into 𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗀 and being like, I don't like this or this, why not let AI talk in a language that another AI can understand? So I just went back to ChatGPT and I said, hey, this is what happened. Here's some screenshots. Here's what I like. Here's what I don't like. Update the prompt. It updated the prompt, pasted it in. Within 3 prompts in less than a lunch hour, I had an incredible app. I sent it to my husband because he's doing the Miracle Morning with me. And he was like, this is so good. You have to monetize this. And I said, I don't need to monetize it. I just had fun. I learned how to vibe code. I learned how to build an app. It was my first app that I built through vibe coding. And it was just for me, just for fun. So that's the thing. So that's what I recommend, you guys. And then figure out, okay, now how could I apply that skill that I learned to my business? And that way you're utilizing the right resources and you're using your human brain, but then you're just working smarter, not harder. So that's my advice about AI. It can do so many things, but instead of just looking for the solution, play around a little bit, watch some YouTube videos. If you want to learn how to make your own TikTok videos with your own clone yourself kind of thing, that's the latest thing that people are doing. Yeah. Watch some YouTube videos, put them all into Notebook.LM and let it teach you so that you don't have to actually watch the YouTube videos. but there's so many great hacks, you know, and just
summary.
Yeah, just have fun, and you know, still remember, business is business. People have been trading goods and services since the caveman days. So as long as you're still delivering value and you're connecting with your customers, you're going to have a successful, awesome business, AI or not. Now, can you optimize it with AI? Absolutely. But really sticking to your fundamentals and then using AI to optimize is really kind of the step-by-step process.
Oh, I love that, Amy. And also, I've seen things, you know, speeding up. Like in the last 2 or 3 years, everything has been like really fast. A lot of information, a lot of new things. AI developing like crazy, from bad answers to ChatGPT to now elaborate prompts or creating apps or websites or entire SaaS platforms, if you will, out of, you know, no code. So that's amazing. I'm curious what's gonna come our way, Amy, because you know the way things are evolving, I don't know what to expect. Like back in the days, people in the industrialization era, they knew that they will produce a car or whatever, a fridge or whatever. They don't know what's coming up. But now with the AI, the possibilities are limitless, I think. So
yeah.
Robots, not to mention robots on the streets or everywhere. Yeah, even the taxi with no driver, that's also a robot at the end of the day. You know, car driving by itself. So,
and I think that we just, as humans, and I know, Marcel, you and I have had this conversation around the world at different venues, but and this is why I'm back into the Miracle Morning in the morning. I'm back into my morning routine. We as humans have to remember that we're alive in here. and we have a beautiful consciousness that that is safe, that, you know, is there's it doesn't matter what happens out here, we're still in here, and this piece is the most important thing that we can manage and maintain. And so I think for me, the biggest thing that I want to continue to leave with the world, you know, I can teach e-commerce all day, I can teach AI, I can, you know, teaching is one of my superpowers, but the biggest thing that I want to do from here and moving forward is continuing to help people understand how to have that inner peace and joy, no matter what's going on around them, because it is scary, and it's going to get scarier. And there is, you know, it is important to remember kind of our humanity and connect with that.
Definitely. I totally relate to that, because at the end of the day, you know, money is important. You know, we're taught by society that money is important, but it's not that important. Money is the fuel that drives us. And at the end of the day, you want inside to be good, to be bad, to be yourself. You know, we live in duality. I don't want to get into spirituality. I can talk for hours.
I know, it's great. But, well, I think, you know, money follows passion too. And that's the thing, is like, you know, that's the money mindset. Like, I've had to do a lot of work. I grew up very poor, and I had to do a lot of work on my money mindset, because I felt like I didn't deserve to earn $1 million. I felt like I didn't.
Limited beliefs.
I had limiting beliefs. Exactly. Yeah. So I think it is important, you know, to include humanity and our happiness, our core, in the conversation about AI, because that is the biggest thing that, you know, like Mo Gaudat, he left Google because he thought that was so important to help people connect and maintain their happiness in a world where the robots are probably taking over. So it is important that we all just remember that. And, you know, if you ever work with me, I'm a life coach as well as a business coach. So if you ever work with me as one of my clients, we never forget that aspect of it, because it's never just about business, right? We're putting a lot on the line when we start our businesses. And the money, we're not just putting money on the line, we're putting our time and our resources and our sometimes our livelihoods. It's a big risk for people to grow a business. So it's not just, and that's why I ended up getting into life coaching, because you know, there are so many tears shed on calls, or just really emotional things happening. It was never just about business. So I think it's important to remind people that it's okay. You know, it's kind of lonely in business because, you know, you feel like, oh man, I'm not experiencing, we are all experiencing hard, crazy things, especially with this AI thing that's coming. It's just like, it is overwhelming, and we feel like we can't keep up. And it doesn't matter if we're super wizards, like Marcel here is the super wizard. But
we do what we can, Amy. We do.
But you probably still feel a little overwhelmed sometimes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh yeah. But that's human, I believe. So sometimes, you know, you just accept it and go with the flow, whatever happens.
Yep. Go with the flow. I love it.
Love that. Amy, that's amazing. This has been very, very, very interesting. I know that we can talk for hours, Amy. I'm sure that we will probably touch base again and maybe have a subject or an episode entirely on spirituality, because that's also something very, very deep. I'll tell you more after we close this, so we don't disclose to people. So for anyone that wants to reach out to you, Amy, you also have this special offer from your side. Get a free listing review at amazingathome.com/listing review. So
yes,
I'll put this in the description as well. Yeah,
absolutely. So you guys can go to amazingathome.com, and there is, right on my homepage, there's this little form in the middle of my homepage that says Ask Amy. So if you have any business question and you're stuck on anything, you can just fill out that little form, and I will send you a video of me telling you what I think about that and how I might be able to help you. And there's no strings attached. I simply like it. You can tell I like talking about this stuff. I like helping. So feel free to reach out at askamy@amazingathome.com. It's right on my homepage. And then the free listing review is also right on the homepage. If you scroll down under listing optimization. And what is that? Well, if you have a listing on TikTok or Amazon and you're like, I just don't know, is it optimized? Does it look good? Like, I am what's called a conversion optimization expert. So I get into why do customers buy from you? And most of the time, people are missing the mark. They're missing the why customers buy from them. They're not connecting with the customer. And buying is a psychological process and decision. So yeah, feel free, reach out, send me your listing, the link to your listing, and I will share my screen and send you a video of me going through your listing and telling you what I think needs improvement and how I could help you with that. And either way, whether you just use my improvements that I recommend and make those improvements and reach back out to me and say, Amy, and I get this all the time, Amy, those improvements you recommended on your free listing review, man, we're making more sales, man, things are going good. Thank you so much for that. That's great. I love that. Or if you have me optimize your listing for you or book a coaching call with me and we can work through it, it's always fun. So absolutely, that's the best way to find me is just go over to amazingathome.com. And then, of course, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram under Amazing at Home and Amy Weiss. But would love to hear from you either way. And thank you so much, Marcel, for having me.
Amy, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I will make sure to add all the contact information in the description, including LinkedIn and the website and everything. And thank you for your time and for sharing the knowledge with us, your experience, and looking forward to another great episode in the future. Until then, bye-bye.
For you, keep the dream alive, keep pushing through from the first shipment to 1 million streams. We all got here chasing boxes and dreams.